Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Greg with Tales from the Pythian. I am back with another FoundryVTT video. This is me prepping my games. That's all it's ever going to probably be. Nothing specific, just what I have to do when I prep for my games. So like I said, last video, I run 4 games currently. 2 5e, 1 Shadowdark, 1 Cypher System. In this one, I am still prepping the Shadowdark game. I'm very fortunate in that last week I thought I had to play last Friday. It's actually this coming Friday, so I had a little more time. So we're back into the Bandit camp. I came in to kind of revisit. I added a path coming in, added a little bit of underbrush. I didn't want to make it too tile heavy, because of load times on my player screens. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a couple of pit traps around, just to keep things a little crazy. It is Shadowdark after all, and we're going to go from there. My intention with these videos is to try to keep them short, so I'm going to try not to go super fast in my speech. I sometimes can't help that, but I'll try. If you have any questions about anything that I do, if you want me to come back to anything, you just tell me and I'll do it. All right. So let's add, I wanted to move a couple of these barricades. I wanted to take and copy and paste a couple of these barricades down here on either side of this path. I feel like that's something that could be a thing, right? Just to give some more kind of obstacle in the way. So we'll put one here and we're going to put one here. We'll keep them a little spread apart and we'll go ahead and pop our walls on them, terrain walls, and we're just going to put it right there like that, and then that job is done. Quick and easy, right? That's how I like it, quick and easy. All right, so we're gonna go back to our tiles, pop open our file picker, and we're just gonna do a search for trap, and we're probably gonna get 5,000 returns, but I know the one that I'm looking for, so that'll make it easy. Like I said, I want to do like a spike pit trap. I really like the JBA. You can see in the top left corner the animated traps, but they work best for dungeons and not the grass. So we're going to use a static image, WebM. Here we go. This is the one we want. I think this one is the one we want. So we're going to drop this guy in here, and we're just going to drop its size down real quick. All right, and then I'm going to use the outside to let it snap and get myself a 10 by 10 by 10, right? 10 feet wide, 10 feet long, 10 feet deep, and then we'll figure out where we're going to place it. All right, so now let's make this thing a trap. So I want to hide it. That's the state I want it to start in. I want it to start hidden so that my players don't see it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come in and go into the triggers tab. I use Monk's active tiles, so if you don't have Monk's active tiles, you don't use it, you won't see that triggers tab. I do want it to be on enter. I do want it to be controlled by anyone. They got to have sight to the trigger. That's perfectly fine. It is active, so let's check our actions out. So the first thing I want to do in my actions, I want to do a show hide function. So here we go, show hide, and I want to show, and we're going to just do use this tile. That's all we have to do, and we will update that, and then we're going to add a hurt heal function, and we're going to use the triggering token. So whatever token walks into that thing, they're the ones that are going to get hurt, and then we're going to say that we want them to lose 1d6 plus 1d4. The 1d4 will be for the spikes. The 1d6 will be for the 10-foot drop. I'm going to close those brackets. We will show the dice and update that. We'll add a chat message. We'll keep it a public role. We'll update that. We're going to apply it, update the tile. Now we're going to double check the tile, make sure everything kept. We'll set up kept. Everything looks good. And then we're going to test it. So I'm going to pull in one of my players' tokens so that I can have the pleasure of watching this do damage to them. So a lot of times in my games, they avoid these types of things. So we'll just take a look. So I'm going to give him his max hit points here. So this is Rhaenyra. This is a ranger in my group. It's got 11 hit points. So theoretically speaking, when Rhaenyra walks into the pit trap appears, she falls, she takes 5 points of damage. If we look, we'll see that that 5 points of damage happened. We'll also see it over here in the chat. And so it works. Fantastic. So we can get rid of that. We'll give them hit points back because they will all start with their full hit points at the beginning of this game anyway. And then we're going to go back to our tiles and we're just going to rehide this and we'll copy it. And we're going to put a couple of these around because, you know, again, it's Shadowdark and it's nasty. And these are bandits. And this is a pretty important bandit camp. If you are into the Cursed Scroll or if you've read it, the Cursed Scroll 1 zine, the camp is run by a former knight of St. Yidris by the name of Greaves Redthorn. And he's got something nasty going on inside of this tree over here. And yeah, we're going to see if they figure that out. So anyway, if they decide that they're not going to come down the pathway, if they're going to try to sneak around in any kind of an odd approach, then they've got a chance of hitting the trap. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't in Shadowdark, right? So there's no, I don't have to worry, like 5e, I don't have to worry with passive perception and putting that inside of the function of the tile, looking for that, right? Or perception checks for that matter. It's just if they walk into it, that's it. If they're searching, then we handle it that way. If they say, hey, I'm looking for traps, I'm moving up, then we do it through narration. But anyway, all right, so that is good to go. All right, so let's do the next step that I need to do, which is I need to set up the transition here. So scene transition time. So you can see I have all of my hexes. These are that hex crawl map. I have my hexes set up by number. So anything that is in a hex, that's what's in there. So currently I have Shattered Tower, Woodland Cottage, a little village called Wardenwood, and now the Outlaw Camp, which is this bandit camp. So what I like to do when I come to a scene is I like to have a theater of the mind image, just a still image. I bounce back and forth between creating my own imagery for these through AI, or I use, I'm a patron of James RPG Art, who makes fantastic theater of the mind images. You should check him out, and I'll link him in the description as well for you guys to check out. So anyway, we're going to come in here and I'm just going to duplicate X307 and then I'm going to drag it down into 509, right? And then we'll configure it and we'll just change that name to 509 and we'll be good to go. And then when we go to the scene, we're just going to see a tile. I'm going to delete it. Boom. All right. And then I'm just going to create a tile, apply it and create it. I've noticed a bug. I don't know if this is a module that I have installed or if other people might have experienced this. If you have experienced this, if you're a game master, I hope you're a game master and you've experienced this, let me know down in the comments. But every time I create a tile like that, there's two. It's a duplicate. So I have to get rid of one and then we're going to work with this one. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go down here to my macros and I'm going to run this handy dandy macro called fit tile to scene. This is by Bailey Wiki. It comes in their nuts and bolts module. You're probably going to hear me refer to them a lot. I use their stuff a lot and I'm a patron of theirs. It's fantastic and I highly recommend it. So I click this little button, boom, my tile goes up to the exact size of my scene. And I'm going to drop it right on there. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go inside the tile. We're going to go to the triggers tab. We're going to go to the images sub tab, and then we're going to add an image. So we'll go to my Shadowdark folder here, go to my theater of the mind images and my hex locations, and we'll find the bandit camp black and white and bring that in. I'll go ahead and hit apply. So there it is, and then we're going to add again, and we're going to find the bandit camp color and select that one, add it in, and we're going to hit apply. All right, so we have image 1 and we have image 2, and we're going to update the tile. Oh, wait, one last thing. We're going to go back to the basic, and we're going to add tag of 509_BC Bandit Camp. We'll just copy that so we have it, and we're going to apply and update the tile. All right, so next we're going to work on these 2 tiles over here. These are just they're buttons, button functions. That's all they are. So the first one, what it does is it's going to, let's just look at it on the inside. Go in here, we'll go to our triggers, have it set up on a double click for me only, just in case I forget to like hide the button or something like that. All right, so it's going to switch the tile image to image 2, which you remember is the colored image, right? And it's going to do it on a fade. So we need to come in here and edit this and change the tag to the appropriate tag. Tell it yes, that's what we want to do. Change the image to 7-second delay. Perfect. So we're going to do a playlist, playlist day. So I'm not sure if I've picked music for this or not, but we'll kind of pick something just to give you an idea of, you know, we'll pull one in. All right, so I'll handle the sound in a minute. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to preload that scene for everybody. So we're going to pick the correct scene. So preload the outlaw camp. So that's working for us, for everybody. It's going to wait 7 seconds for that preload to occur, and then it's going to activate the outlaw camp for everybody, and we're going to go ahead and transition to the scene. So the idea here is when we get to the black and white, this is where I read the box text. This is where, you know, it's you break through the wood line and you see a clearing ahead of you with some 30 tents and men standing around, you know, all that stuff, a little ambient music, that kind of thing. And then we trigger this, and when we trigger it, it fades to the color image. And as it's doing that, it's preloading the scene, kicking off the music, and then, like I said, it activates the scene and it takes us into the bandit camp. And it makes for a pretty smooth transition. I found it's better if I have a delay like that to load everybody in simultaneously. Sometimes I have a player that's in New York. I have a player that's in South Carolina. So I have players that are kind of spread out. So latency is the thing for me sometimes. But anyway, so the blue button, this is nothing more than a reset. This is just for my purposes. So I'm just going to come in here, and I just have to change the tag here. And we'll put the correct tag in, boom, and we're going to save it. Let's update it and apply. All right, now let's see if we can find a little piece of music. So I am a fan of Describe. So I am also a patron or a subscriber of Describe. I'm going to see if I can't see what this sounds like. It's goblins. That's no good. Let's see. Let's see if we have anything. I don't want to. Campfire in a meadow. Can we have campfire in woods? How about that? This should be good. That works for me. We'll just drag and drop that in, and we'll close it. And that's going to come in as campfire in woods. So we'll come back into this token. We're going to do playlist. So it's a playlist, and we're going to do campfire in the woods. That's going to do it. Update, and we'll apply and update the tile. That should get us everything that we need, right? So theoretically speaking, if we click this button, then we should get a slow fade over as things happen, and then it's going to preload. Here comes our campfire, and then in a second, 15 seconds total, I think, is the count. Bam! Here we are. We're in the camp. We'll have their tokens laid out, ready to go. Based on where they told me they were going to approach the camp from, whether they're going to take the path, or they're going to come from the east or the north or wherever. I'll have that ready to go for them, and that's that. So keep it good and organized, and good and neat and tidy. So before we do anything, let me go back and just switch this back and get it reset so it's ready to go for Friday. I love this effect. It's a pretty cool transition. and it works pretty dang well, I think. But anyway, all right, cool. So let's see, what else do we have? I think for the Bandit camp, that actually is it now, which is great. So I don't want to take up everybody's time by building out the next place in this video. So real quick, I will just run over roll tables, because I built some roll tables, and I had to do a little homework. You know, again, I work in technology day to day, but I'm not a coder by any means. I am a software operator, I guess would be a good way to say it. But the roll tables I wanted to bring in from the Cursed Zine 1, the little hex crawl is called the Gloaming. And so they have this table. Let me see if I can just pull it up over here real quick. Where's my Bluebeam at? Let me pull my PDF software down in here real quick. And let's just go to here. I think this is what I need. All right. So inside of the Gloaming, they have these tables, right? So I wasn't worried about the rumor table, but we have the encounter zones because we have, again, this is a hex crawl, right? So we have forest, marsh, path, and water, right? So forest, marsh, road, water, essentially. And then in each of those, so if we got water, then if we got water, we rolled the D8 and we got, aquatic, then we want to roll on the aquatic table or the animal table or the demon table. So this ends up being quite a lot of tables. So I was like, man, I think I want to try to do some kind of a nesting, right? So what I did was I dealt with the zones. So I built all the tables, but then I nested them into each other, and I didn't know 100% if this was going to be a thing I could do or not, but it seemed to work out, right? So let me pop this back up and use as an example real quick. So encounter zone forest. So on a 1 or a 2, we have the demon. On a 3 to a 5, we have aquatic, or 3 to 6, we have aquatic, and then 7 to 8 is the people. So here I have my people encounters table, right? And I have these all pushing compendium creatures in. So basically the brackets are dice rolls. I didn't, I knew that, but I had to figure out how to do it. And then these point to the compendium. So you can point to actors that are in your world and things in your world if you want to, but my understanding of Foundry is that it's better if you can operate out of your compendiums. So basically I brought the particular creatures or encounters in, look, I spelled people wrong. I brought them in this way, pointing to them from the compendium with the dice roll, and then I nested these results or this tables into the zones. So an example of how that would work would be if I come down here, because I put them all on my macro bar. Example of how that works, just in case. So right here, here's my forest zone. So if I roll that, it rolls a D8. It's a 1, so that's a demon, and then it just gives me right here the roll table for the demon, so I don't have to go digging for it, and I can roll from here. So my next goal is to, and then here's the creature, and I can just pull that creature in right there, and then I have its hit points roll, and it's just like that. The next thing I'm going to try to figure out, and if you know how to do this, you can leave me a comment down in the bottom, is how to get it to roll the table, right? So it rolled this 1. And then I wonder if I can automatically get it to roll the result of this table. I know that Better Roll Tables it's a module. It can definitely do that sort of thing, but it's not currently compatible with the Shadowdark RPG system in Foundry. So if there's a native way to do it, that's what I've got to find. But anyway, this is a pretty simple thing to do, and I wouldn't mind sharing with anybody that might be looking to do something like this. I know there are a lot of very experienced game masters out there in the VTT world, but I also know there are folks that are like me. I've been after it for about a little over a year, and I've learned a lot, and it's kind of hard to find certain things out there. So anyway, if this is something you'd be interested in, you let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to take off, let you guys go. Again, I'm Greg. This is Tales from the Pythian. I'm going to do FoundryVTT prep videos, and we also stream games. I will put a card somewhere around here for the first video I did last week, and I hope to catch you guys in the next one. So be easy.